Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I specifically want to talk about the game layer of Dungeons and Dragons. And there are three game layers of Dungeons and Dragons, in my humble opinion. Asterisk, air quotes, we'll get there. And those three layers are the difficulty check, the character build, and level 1 through 20. Right, leveling 1 through 20. All right, so let me define this a little further. So first of all, I don't believe that there's any game layer of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't believe that any aspect of Dungeons and Dragons is a game. I don't believe it ever has been a game. I don't believe it's a game now, and I don't believe it'll ever be a game. However, I'm hyper aware of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm hyper aware of the Dungeons and Dragons community. And the Dungeons and Dragons community absolutely believes there is a game that there is a game within Dungeons and Dragons, that there's a game layer of Dungeons and Dragons. So I want to meet the community where they're at. So I'll use your language, and we'll talk about the game layer of Dungeons and Dragons. So one, I want to thank you very much for listening to these videos, and I've already discussed all of these layers that that a Dragon Master. What is a Dragon Master? A Dragon Master is a Dungeons and Dragons player. It's a more appropriate term, in my humble opinion. So when I say Dragon Master, I mean Dungeons and Dragons player. That's what any other channel would call it. Right? But language is powerful, and the powerful use it well. Right? All right. All right. So let's talk about the game layer of Dungeons and Dragons. Right? So first of all, it's the difficulty check. It's incredibly profound. It's been here since February 7th, 1974. Same difficulty check has been there, right? You have a dragon. You're a dragon master. You have a player character, right? There's four other dragon masters at the table. They all each have player characters. The dungeon master says, "Hey, can you, perceive the secret door?" Right? And actually, now that one takes a passive check. Let me get a better one. I don't want to just say. I don't just want to say the obvious, right? So basically, you're attacked by an owlbear, and even that. Ugh. Oh, yes. Okay. Investigation. Right. So you've come to a town, a village, and you're trying to solve a mystery, and you're looking for a clue. And the dungeon master's like, can you find the clue in this scene, right? And at that point, you roll investigation. Okay, you're going to roll a d20. Your d20. It's important, right? Like, especially today, nobody's sharing dice playing Dungeons and Dragons. So you roll your d20, right? Then you say the number that's on that d20, and you say also, hey, investigation, that's going to go off of wisdom, and I'm going to add my +2 from wisdom, and my character does not have investigation as a skill, so I'm not going to add my proficiency, because and now I'm thinking if investigation goes off intelligence, one of those two, right? And then thankfully they're listed right in the book, so that's good. And then proficiency, you're saying I don't have that skill, so I'm not going to be able to add my proficiency bonus. And what is your proficiency bonus? Generally, it's half your level, right? I think that's a good way of thinking about it, right? And that's it. That's the difficulty check. And your dungeon master has set a difficulty, which a good dungeon master will always communicate to you before the roll. And if you have a dungeon master who doesn't do that, run for the hills. They are not a good dungeon master. No good dungeon master, in my humble opinion, hides a difficulty check target. It's not good dungeon master, in my humble opinion. All right, so that's the difficult check. That is a game element, and that is the core of Dungeons and Dragons. And if you understand it, you could do a ton with Dungeons and Dragons. And if you don't understand it, you can really struggle with Dungeons and Dragons. You could still play it. We've seen people do it, right? But it's much harder, right? What is the next game aspect of Dungeons and Dragons? Game layer, right? It's the character build. Oh my gosh, right? And so you'll never see this on my channel. I don't believe you ever will, but I don't spend 2 minutes saying, oh, you want to You know, you want to build a good ranger, you're going to choose this species, and you're going to choose this subclass, and you're going to choose these feats, blah, 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 right? I really actively dislike this aspect of Dungeons & Dragons. It's there, though, right? Period, right? And actually, not only do I actively dislike it, I literally try to subvert it. I believe that the best games of Dungeons & Dragons are played with suboptimal builds, right? But there are many people who are trying to make optimal builds, and there are literally 1,000 channels that are devoted completely to it, right? Like, not a joke. That's literally the number, right? So, and that is an aspect. And then finally, I want to, let's back up. Optimal build, right? A ton of Dragon Masters find joy in optimal build. They should not. It is a complete subversion of Dungeons and Dragons it's wrong fun in my humble opinion. Wrong fun. And I'm trying to move us past it. That's what this channel is about. It's about catapulting Dungeons and Dragons into a space that it has never been before. A space of cultural power and cultural relevance, which it deserves and right now does not have. Right? We're losing, right? Sales and relevancy and shine to scrub industries, right? Board games and video games. Hey, they deserve their money, right? But neither one of them should even be close to the sales on Dungeons & Dragons, right? Like, because they're fundamentally less, right? All right. So let's keep moving here. So at that point, finally, let's talk about leveling 1 to 20. Leveling 1 to 20 is a big freaking deal, and it feels fantastic. There's almost no better feeling when you're at the table and the dungeon master is like, your dragon master player character has advanced 1 level. You're like, I did it. It's huge. And I think it fundamentally shaped literally the entire video game industry. I actually think the video game industry would be in tatters without Dungeons and Dragons. But just like Gary Gygax systematized J.R.R. Tolkien's work, video game industry very much systematized Dungeons and Dragons and made billions on it. So maybe that's karma. Yeah. All right. So leveling from 1 to 20 is really a very powerful aspect it's a game layer of Dungeons & Dragons. So those are the 3 game layers, right? And I really want to thank you for letting me share these layers with you. It's very important to me. You guys have been really patient, waiting for these videos, and they're all up now. So I really wanted to thank you for letting me share this. Please every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.